Hey guys, CryptoCine here. Today I'm going to explain Ripple, specifically aimed to newcomers, because Ripple has been there since 2013, but has always been in the same state for 4 years now. Then obviously the cryptocurrency spike, with every cryptocurrency, came, but with Ripple, especially in the last 7 days, they more than tripled the market cap, which is insane because this currency has been there for almost 5 years now, because it came out in 2013 and now tripled the market cap because people are realizing what this technology is capable of doing. If we look at this graph here, and if we compare Ripple to something like Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Bitcoin Cash, you can see that Ripple has a much faster speed in terms of transaction speed, very, very low transaction costs, and is much more scalable than all the others. Because, for example, Bitcoin with 16 transactions per second, no bank can use this. It's irrelevant for banks to even look at this. So Ripple was designed especially for banks because the payment infrastructure of banks, or in general, was built before the internet, and so the payment structure got very few updates. So nowadays, if you do cross-border payments, first thing, they are very slow. They take up to 3 to 5 days. Secondly, they are unreliable. They have high failure rates. Thirdly, they are very expensive for banks and for the sender, also for the receiver, because they have very high transaction costs. Another thing that's not standing right here is, if we take an example of a cross-border payment across a few countries, there are many intermediary banks, and every intermediary bank has your identity, which really is not safe because you have to trust the bank that they don't leak information or they don't show anyone your identity. And yeah, you know how this is going in the 21st century. So the price spike, I explained it in my previous video, but to shorten this up, the price spike in the last 7 days came because Asian banks are now actually testing and using the Ripple network. Right now they're only testing the network, but they are considering using the currency Ripple too. So another great thing about Ripple is that, if we take an example, I'm a European. If I want to transact 100 euros to Bob, an American friend of mine, but he wants to receive US dollars, it's no problem. I can send 100 euros and he will receive a 1-to-1 ratio of the evaluation of that in USD. So Ripple and the Ripple network, you can use it with every currency in the world. That's a very great thing. So Ripple has recently, like I said, partnered with big Asian banks, but one of the biggest partners is actually American Express, which all of you out there have at least heard of. And that's a really huge thing. So a really nice thing about Ripple is that they have 3 different packages you can work with. For example, if you're a bank and you're interested in using the Ripple network, you can use them out of the box. There are the process payments, which is X current, the source liquidity for X rapid, and the send payments with X via. Well, X via and X rapid are actually in development right now, but X current is already out, so you can process payments from one bank to another bank, cross-border, without any intermediary banks. How the technology actually works behind the scenes, I'm going to try to cover in my next video, because this is a more complicated thing to describe. So with Xcurrent, you can process payments cross-border from one bank to another bank. Obviously, they both have to use the Ripple network. but they can use USD and they can use the Chinese yen, for example. Then XRapid is for the liquidity costs of banks. They can actually minimize it while still improving the customer experience, which is a big thing, because with banks, everything is around costs. They want to lower the costs as much as possible. And that's why the banks are using and testing the Ripple network, because the transaction costs are so low that banks actually can lower their costs up to 30%. And that's a big amount for banks. Then we have XVia. With XVia, you can send payments. So these are the senders. You send the money over the Ripple net, and the beneficiaries or the senders get the money. So, like I said, XVia and XRapid are still in development, but XCurrent you can actually use out of the box. So, if you're wondering where you can buy Ripple, they also have a site which I'm gonna link in the description where you can buy Ripple. So for institutional purchases, you actually have to contact them, obviously, because this is where big companies like American Express are purchasing Ripple. But you can, for example, in the US on Kraken or Bitstamp, if you're Korean, CoinOne. Japan, I think, is Bitso, CoinCheck. And for Europeans like me, I'm buying all my Bitcoin on Lightbit, which is a really great thing. So, to sum this up, Ripple has been in the top 10 since it came out. And now people realize that Ripple is really a game changer in terms of payment infrastructure for banks. Like I said, cross-border payments for banks have a very high risk of failure, and you have a very high risk because you have to trust each bank that has your identity so that they don't leak your identity or they don't spread your information around. Plus, transaction fees are very high and Ripple can actually lower them. So, Ripple is a real game changer in terms of payments and how payments will work in the future. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I will try to do my best to answer them. Also, if you liked the video, don't forget to obviously like and subscribe. And thanks for watching.